Well, we're going to continue our discussion about no children allowed coming up on our show, from airlines to restaurants. There seems to be a war on kids. We're going to talk with parenting blogger Samantha Kemp-Jackson about why this backlash is happening, some tips for parents on how to navigate the unfriendly waters. That is coming up. But right now, we're going to check in with Jim and find out what's happening. 41, you're listening to Here and Now. Well, one day, Malaysia Airlines is barring children from their first-class seats, and the next day, children are banned from a restaurant in Pennsylvania. It seems like there's been a war on the young'uns lately, and it had you talking on the show yesterday. Samantha Kemp-Jackson knows all about that war. As a Toronto mother of 4 herself, including two-year-old identical twin boys, she knows what it's like to be stared down by diners at the next table when her sons decide it's time to throw a tantrum, or the dinner rolls. Samantha shares some tips and some understanding and a good dose of humor with other parents through her parenting blog. It's called Multiple Mayhem Mama. Samantha's on the line with us now. Hello.
Hi there, Laura.
2-year-old twins. Wow.
Yeah.
What's it like for you when you go into a restaurant with both of them?
Well, there's certainly some trepidation from other diners when we walk in. They certainly look at my 2 boys, who are very cute, but nevertheless they are 2. And multiplied by 2, people are concerned that they're going to throw a tantrum. So definitely I can see the stares, and I understand where it's coming from, but I do think that there is a war on kids out there.
Yeah, what is it about this war on kids? It seems like we're going back to those days, where kids should be seen and not heard, or maybe not even seen at all. Like, just get rid of them.
Well, I'm not really sure about it, Laura, but what I think it is that the last few years has really kind of brought upon a change with people's economic situation. So the ability to go out to a really nice meal or to fly first class is very much coveted by them, perhaps more so than before, because the dollars are really tight. So it's understandable that when you go out to a nice meal, you don't want to have kids screaming in your ear, and I totally get that as a parent.
Yeah, but still, the kids have to learn somewhere. At some point, they have to be introduced to restaurants and to airline travel and being in public and behaving yourself.
Yes, absolutely. And that's why I put together the particular post that I referred to, which is called Sippy Cups and Sushi, Top 10 Tips for Dining Out with Small Children. There are strategies that parents can use to go out with kids without upsetting other diners. So, for example, some of the tips that I provide to other parents is to make sure that you have your game plan prepared in advance of going out. So be prepared. I always have with me in my purse some crayons, some Cheerios, some snacks. My daughter likes to play with my husband's iPod. Anything that'll keep them entertained while they're at the restaurant. I also make allies out of the wait staff. So what I'll do is when I walk in, I talk to the wait staff and I let them know that if there's any situation that occurs, I will take care of it. So it's really about taking control of the situation, because I'm a parent, but I'm also a consumer, and I understand that if I have a babysitter for the night, I don't want to go out and have, other children screaming in my ear.
Well, it seems, we got a lot of calls on this issue yesterday, and we continue to get them today. And it seems about 70% agreed with a ban on children in restaurants. What do you think of that?
Well, I think it's somewhat harsh because, I am child-friendly. That being said, I think it's more a situation where people are not reining in their kids. And when I say reining in, I think that we've all been in situations where we've seen children that are running amok, they're screaming, they're shouting, they're behaving badly, they're having tantrums, and the parents aren't really doing anything. So when I see that personally, and I'm a parent, when I see that, it's more a reflection to me on the parents than it is of the children. Because the children, they're going by the direction of the parents. So I think that, by parents really taking control and having strategies in place before they go into an eating establishment, and knowing that, at the end of the day, if the kids really are having a meltdown and they're not calming down, then you take them out. So my kids have certainly, I've been in situations where my youngest boys are, having a bit of a time, and if they're not calming down, I'll take them out because it's not fair to the other diners.
Do you limit the kinds of restaurants you take them to?
To a certain degree, but no. I mean, I do live in a part of town where there's some nicer restaurants, and I've certainly taken them to the restaurants. When they start acting up, then I say it's time to leave. If I can't calm them down, then I leave. And I think that that's really the guideline for the parents. The parents need to take control of the situation and show other diners that, irrespective of the fact that they're in a restaurant with small children, the other diners' personal experience of eating out is not going to be compromised.
Yeah, what worked with my daughter daughter when she was small was that we would sit her down beforehand and lay out all the expectations of her. And that worked for air travel. It worked for restaurants. So, some parents, they just bring their kids in there and expect them to behave, but they haven't been taught what to do.
Well, and as I said, at the beginning of the conversation, I really think that it's a reflection on the parents. And I think that our role as parents is to guide our children and to tell them what is appropriate behavior and what is to be accepted, and of course within reason, because 2-year-olds don't understand as much, but you can prep them as much as you can, bring all the diversion tactics that you're able to, and at the end of the day, if they cannot adhere to them within their capacity to do so, then you have to leave with them. And I think that's where the situation is difficult for some parents. They don't want to leave. They want to have their meal out, and they don't care that their children are crying and bothering other people.
You have to be considerate.
Yeah,
absolutely. But do you think this backlash against kids has to do with something, the way new mothers act around kids, where, love me, love my child, or else kind of thing?
I think to a certain degree that's the case. I know that there are, some parents who certainly turn a blind eye to the tactics of their children and what their children are doing, and they might find it cute in their own household, not realizing that because, their children are not other people's children, other people don't find it ingratiating. So I think that as parents, the message here is really to kind of step back a little bit, take a long, hard look at the behavior of our children, and think about whether or not if you were in the other shoes of the diners, would you appreciate the behavior that's being conveyed by the children? If the answer is no, then you need to remove the kids from the restaurant. Or, well, the airline you can't, but the restaurant definitely.
Well, what would you say to those listeners of ours? 70% of them don't want kids near them. What would you say to them?
Well, I would say to them that I certainly understand their point of view, and it's probably because they don't want to be bothered while they're going out for a meal. But I would say that it really is the role of the parent to rein in their children, whatever that means. And if the children cannot adhere to the rules and calm down and stay calm, then it's the responsibility of the parent to take the children out. And I think that the backlash that you're hearing is really born of the fact that many parents turn a blind eye to their children's antics to the detriment of other people's dining experiences.
All right. Well, bon appetit to you. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Samantha Kemp Jackson is a writer and the author of her own parenting blog. It's called multiplemayhemmama.com.
This is Here and Now at 99.1 in Kensington Market.
Toronto's Chloe Charles.